Hello everybody. In this video, I want to continue working with the Vite to-do application, and we are actually going to do some changes in there. We need to scaffold everything and to have a better separation. And what I need to do. So what I want to introduce here is the concept of components and a helper, how we can actually export that information. It's going to be pretty cool. I believe it's going to work pretty well. So let's actually get started. So as you can see right now, I have the application open on the right. On the left, I have the source code and it's working the way that it's supposed. We create a new pending item and we click it, go to complete it. If we add a second one, go to pending and we can go back and forward between pending and completed. Perfect. So let's start doing some interpolation here. So one of the cool things that we need to be doing, I'm not sure I showed you this already. So I need you to go to View, GS, DevTools, Beta. At the time that I'm recording this video, it's still in beta. So we need to open the Gitcode page. And let's open that one. We're going to go to releases. And we're going to get the version 6. So whatever you have there, we need to install that in your browser. So we just click it. And if you have Firefox, you go and click this one right here. If you have a Chrome, I believe Chrome, we can have it somewhere else. But you're using Firefox, we just open this one from here. What else? And with you using Chrome, you just DevTools Beta Chrome. As simple as looking for those. Let me check. Yeah, there you go. The beta version is the one that you need to install and install in your Chrome. This will allow us to troubleshoot your application a little bit further. So you will see that this is going to be popped up there. That means we will right click, inspect element. At the end of the list, we will have a view element right there. Let me move me away from that. So you will see all the components that we are having in our application. In this case, we just have one component, the application.view, and we can see it right there. When we hover over, it's actually graded out that part. And then we have the setup section here. We have the different functions that we are using. We actually have the computed properties. We have the reference key reactive and everything is doing. So right now we have two pending items. We can see the pending to do is an array of two. And we can actually see those right here. We have the to do is two different elements. And what is pretty cool about this, let me just click one of those. Let me go to the first one, the one that says no, and you will see the status will change right away. If we do that, we see that this one changed to done right away. And it's pretty neat because this is a way to actually troubleshoot how the data is flowing in the application. And we can do several elements. So we can have several ads, we have the inspector, timeline, we have a bunch of stuff. I will not go to details, everything that needs to happen here, but it's something really simple that will help us. And for the component section, it's going to be really cool. So we are not going to depend that much in the console. We're still going to be doing it, right? But now with this one, it's going to be a little bit easier to actually troubleshoot the app. So let's actually continue there. So the first thing that we need to get here is that what we created here, we just created a really big component called application, and that application get mounted in the main JavaScript file. So we actually create a view application with the create function, and we mount it in the app ID of our index HTML. Where is it? Right here. In the app ID, right here, you get mounted inside, so everything get injected in this section. And we are mounting the application view file. So that's the main entry point. But it's not completely the best way to actually do this stuff. So now this is a small application. It makes sense, right? But let's start separating those concerns and having a little bit better understanding. So let's say, for example, that instead of having this input here. So with this title, I want, and with all all those classes, I want this to be just a simple title. So let's do something. Let's copy this line, and it's going to be the. Let's actually cut it. We cut it. I'm running it, so it gets deleted. Perfect. I go to component, right click, new files. Let's call this title .view. I will do vbase. I will type vbase 3 because we already have the auto completion. So we look for vbase 3. Click that. For now, actually we are not going to be using nothing from this. Just the template section, and we paste the title here. So what we did right now, we remove the title and we create a component that doesn't have any logic, just with that title right there. So the way to use a component, we already saw that in the introduction of Vue, we need to import it. So we need to import title from, and we need to specify where, and this is on my components area. That is my title. .view. Remember, we need to put that one right there. Now that we imported, and because we're using the sugar code for sugar reference for the setup, we don't need to declare as a component. Vue already know that it's a component, so we can just go back here, and before the input, we can just do a title. We close it, and as we save it, that title gets rendered. So this one came actually from this component over here. Let's add an extra exclamation point in my title view, and that will be rendered right here. So we saw that it's actually getting this information, and we're injecting this right here. It's like if you're a little more familiar with the MVC framework, it's like layout and template, like we're injecting fragments, right? So it's pretty much the same. Right now we're just getting a new component. We call it title because it's the way that we imported, and we just import it right here, and we just use it right here. That's it, and we're able to have it. Bring it. So that's a way how to have that functionality. Now, in components, we can actually send different props. Props will be like elements, information that we inject to a specific component in order to do something about that. So we can actually call this to be a message that says, for example, and this message is going to be hello there. There's something like this. What I want to do is I want to actually send this message as part of the component title, and we will send as a prop. Those props work different attributes in HTML element, so we can actually define our like custom attributes. Is actually calling props. But in order to use those, we need to start adding the script tag now. And we don't need the export default. Oops, sorry for that. Close it. And we need to remember that we're using the new way to do it. So it's going to be set up. By the way, I don't have I'm being a little dangerous here. I don't have my notes right now with me, so let's see if we can do it at the first time. So in prop, what we need to do, we need to import something from Vue, and we need to do something called define props right here. This function will allow us to understand again the different props elements that are going to be sent. So right now we have the define props, and we can actually have an array, and we have a prop called message. And this prop, we open another object inside, and we put like type I believe it's going to be spring, and to default it's going to be height. So custom title. Let's save that. Now the way to use it, we use it as a traditional component. So let's remove it from here, and I will put my message without the hello there get rendered. Hello there get rendered because we are sending hello there as a title. But something really cool about this, and it's going to define prop, is going to be the name, and we define the type and the default element that we need to have there. That means when you define a default, we can actually reuse this code and have, you know what, I want another title here. And I will not send anything this time. So we can actually see if I spell it correctly. I have my custom title. The custom title gets rendered because it's the default one. So whenever we have something that is supposed to be there, like hello there, that's the one that gets rendered here. So that's a really simple way to actually have those. And let me save this, and I save it on my clipboard, my original title, my to-do app. So now I have my title with a specific message, and that message just got rendered right there. That's a way to actually have it there, and it's pretty neat. So we learned it in a really basic way how to have a specific title to be working on. So let's actually start working with some other elements, and those are going to be a little more complex. The one that I want to do is now, we can see in the main JavaScript, main element, we have the sections, we have the remove the pending items, and we have the completed items. And as you can see, those are actually very similar. So we can actually extrapolate those, and we can actually send information. But before we do that, there is another way that we can use in Vue 3, and it's not available, sorry. It's not available in Vue 2. That's pretty much separating the logic from our component. What I want to do now is I will create a new file, sorry, and it's going to be in inside my source directory. I think I'm there. New file. There you go. And let's create a folder. This call is going to be helpers. I don't know, it can be called whatever you want. And in here we're going to call it use to do's JavaScript file. So I have my helpers, use to do's. And in this, what I want to do is I want to extrapolate all the logic from the Vue to do for the to do section to here. So we can actually reuse it in different elements. And it's going to be really really easy to understand it. So in this use to do's, let me type it correctly. But I need to go out to my application. I will pretty much copy all this actually, and I will be pasting it right here. I need to remove the title doesn't need to go here, and I believe that's pretty much what we need to do. But now we need to export each one of those elements, and this is going to be the simplest way to do it. Just add an export right there, or we can actually do like an export at the end, looking for all those. Export, we want it. This should be enough. We should import the reference on the computer because we're using those, and we are pretty much exporting all the rest of the elements. That means that here in my application.vue, I believe I can get rid pretty much of everything. I can get rid of this. And I can get rid pretty much of all this. Right now my application is not going to work. But let's start. And it's not going to work because referring, we go to the console. We'll see that we are reference things that we are not using. And let's import from, let's call them my helpers. To those, we're going to import the one that we're using right here is the need to do. We're going to import this one. We're going to be importing also here pending to dos, and then we do a to do for every pending to dos. We're going to be importing the next element will be the completed to dos. The change status function. Oh, of course, we need to add also the add to do function. And that really does get triggered right here, right? Yes, add to do. Save those. We have our application here. Let me refresh it. All the errors on the console get away. If I type 1, that one get moved right there. Type 2, and I still can move those from here and there. But what happened? My main application view, my JavaScript file section, will get a lot smaller. As you can see now, we can actually do something here. If I don't need to have access to my main to-dos, I can just save those as an element from here. And pretty much we should be fine. We don't need to be exporting the to-dos by itself. We just exporting the computed element of those to-dos. Mean to one, and those still get saved where they need to be. And if I do the spec element, I go to the view section, let me move away. We can see we have still the different element. If I do something, that actually should be referenced right here. Let me refresh it, probably. There you go. There you go. The need to do now is get reflected. So if I type something, you can actually see that it's there. My completed and pendings are empty. Without that new to do get empty, pending just get 1. If I select it, then it's going to be to 0 and complete is going to be going to 1. So we have the same functionality. The only difference that we exported the logic in his source file, and when you export the logic, you can apply another element here like unit testing and other different elements, and it's actually really neat. So now that we have this exported, we can actually dissect our application a little bit more. So we can actually create a new element called new to do.view. And what I want to do here, I want actually to move my input box there. I don't need it here anymore. So I will get rid of this. I will go to my new to do. I will create my template. I will paste it there. But I will go to open my script setup. Script setup. And what we can actually do here, we have the V model and we have the change element. So we can actually just do import new to do and add to do from view. That's it. That means, because these are the two elements that the input box actually uses, that means that we can go back to my application and first of all, I will not need the new to do anymore. I will not need the add to do because the new to do and add to do are only belongs pretty much to that input box. I save it and I can just to import new to do from components new to do view. And we can go right here after the title, simple as new to do, and we can select close it. We don't need to set anything there. If we do that, in theory, should be working. It's not doing it. And component need to do dot view. I'm doing something that is not supposed to be. Let's go to the console. Import not found, add to do. Oh, wait. These two elements actually not imported from view. That's why they have an issue. So what I need to actually import it, I need to go, because I'm inside my component folder, I need to get back. That's why I put that from to level up helpers and my used to do element. I save this. Sure, this should be fine now. There you go. If I create one, those elements get rendered because the need to do and the add to do came from my helper, and in my main application, the only thing that I'm importing here is my need to do element. That need to do, you'll get rendered right here. And the same way that we actually send a prop, we can choose different props here. So we can actually do something like, I don't know, this is a really straightforward element, but we can actually do, I don't know, placeholder equal I don't know, insert new to do here. Something like this, simple like this. And then we can actually go in our application, in the new to dos, import define props. This one is actually came from view. And then we go to define props and we do simple as call this it's already there. Insert need to do here. And this is going to be the actually the placeholders are already there, so it gets injected somehow. Interesting. The folder. They just put it like the way they're supposed to because we are inserting the main element, so we are pretty much overwriting this one. That way just get rendered right there. But the proper way would be to have like type string and default is going to be need to do. Now we can actually do a placeholder is going to be dynamic and it's going to be equal to my placeholder. There you go. Remember, when we're inserting something in a prop like this that is going to be dynamic, need to have that little quote at the beginning. So let's change this to click enter after adding, I don't know, something like that, and then just work. And if we don't define anything, we have the need to do by default. So we can actually see that we actually rendering and we are sending that element there. Now something really cool, if we want to extrapolate this a little bit better because we are on the main application side, we can actually do another level of importing. So let me just get back to my code and I will create a new component. It's going to be called header.view. My header will have a template and will have my title. Title and my new to do, and I will just as simple as insert script to the setup version. I will pretty much just do these two elements from here. Move this from here. I will send it to my header. Now my application, I can actually let's move the whole header the way that it is here. Put that one right here. And then in my main application, we just importing my header. So we do import header from, and when it's something local, we just specify the path. It's going to be ./component header.view. The view. We have an issue here. Components, title. Oh, yeah. On my header, this one doesn't came from the component folder, it came from itself. We do this, we refresh. We have an issue here. Let's see. My code is running fine. Let's see what happened. I'm importing title from title. Yes. And importing need to do from need to do right here. I'm using those here. I have a header element that is simple HTML that the flex is there. And then if I go to my application view, I'm importing my header. Oh, wait, I'm not using it. So I just need to put header. And now my header is going to be rendered. Now my code is a little more cleaner. And we have a nested component that are actually working. Now, if you get confused, those nested components, that's where the Vue.js DevTools came across. You can see I have my application, I have a header element. That header element have a title, and I need to do. If I go title, I can see that I have a props called message, and it's going to what it get sent there. And the need to do, I'm using the add to do function and the need to do reference. And I have a prop called placeholders with the text that need to be rendered right there. So this is the way to scaffold your application, have a better way to maintain it. So let's create another one. And this one is going to be the main code. So let's go here, main.view. And in that main.view, the only thing that I'm going to be sending is pretty much this one. So I will create a template with my main, and I will close my main. What I want to do is, we're about to send HTML elements inside that. Well, you have an element called slots, U3, and we have different type of slot. Those slot is how to send specific information. So sending props is one way to send information like need to be rendered. Or when you have a whole structure that needs to be rendered inside, you send that through a slot. And the traditional way to actually all those, oh sorry, I just skipped back, there you go, is inserting the slot element in there. So we have the simple slot function, and then we can actually create something in there. So that means without defining anything, I can just do a slot and I can self-close it. I can go to my main application. I will copy over my both sections. I go to both sections, I do Control X, I will save those. I will delete my main because it's already centered somewhere else. And I will import main from components main. After this one, I will send my main element, and I will close it. I will not self-close it because I need to send something inside that. So my main element is there. So what the slot is going to be doing for me, if I send something here like a paragraph, say hello, that one you get inserted inside my main element. If I refresh this, I don't know if there's a way to refresh this section right here. Global states, component inspector, application. I probably need to refresh it from here. There you go. We have my main element. It's not rendering anything because everything that I send inside is going to send through those slots. If I didn't have those slots in there, it doesn't matter what I put there, it will never get rendered. But because I have the slot element, I can send different sections here. So that means that what I can do here in my application view, instead of posting this, I can actually post the whole element that I had before. I have my sections pretty much. I have the same functionality, and that section just gets rendered where they're supposed to be. Pretty neat, right? So let's now change and have a dynamic element here. So we have that those sections are actually really pretty much the same, right? And we're just sending two different elements there that need to be rendered, and those elements need to be changing from colors, right? So let's just copy this section, the first one. I will copy that, and I will create a new component. And you can have folders inside your component. My node saving those probably should be a lot better, but let's keep it like that. So list to-dos.view. I need to change the name. I will just create a base tree. It's a little more base tree. I will send the section inside. Right. I will delete the style, I don't need it. And for the script setup, what I need to have here is just the information that I need here. That will be my pending to-dos and my change status. So I just need to import pending to-dos, comma, change status, and this will change a little bit later. But just to see it's actually working. And this needs to import from my helpers, use to-dos. Now I can go to my application. Let me get rid of this section. I don't need it anymore. So if I type something, it will never get rendered because that doesn't exist, depending. So I will just import from here, and actually let's use the main one just to see it. No, let's do it from here. On the application, let me show you something different. So after inserting my main, I will just import list to dos from components, list to dos. We have an issue here. What is list to dos? Oh, list to dos.view. Then in my list to do view have an issue. Oh, I have this one extra there. You're fine? Yes, you're fine. Now what I need to do is inside my main, I will just put my list to do here. Save that. That means I put one. That one gets rendered here because that is from my list of the to-dos elements. We have depending on the change status. Pretty neat, right? But what I need to have here is two different list to-dos, and one going to be for the pending item, and the other one going to be for the completed items. And that's where the trick actually happened. So let's go back to the logic and let's try to understand what we can actually put there. So we can actually change the color probably. Yes. So let's add a prop here. Let's import from view. And let's import the define props. And in the logic, we just put define props. And let's put the first prop is going to be color. And let's do type string. And default green. And I call it green. You can call it the color that actually you have in your application. So what I need to have here is the class is going to be now two different objects. So there's two different ways to do this. I have seen something that create a class a dynamic element, and something that create a basic static one, and then add another one that's going to be dynamic class. And this class we can actually have something like color equal green, and these three equals in there, remember. If colors equal green, you can actually enter all the green things here. It's going to be this one. And we can put that green here. So it's going to be my text green 800, my cover green 800, and that's it, all right? Color equal green, going to be text green. There's something extra there? No, I don't think so. Let me go to the main one, sorry, to the application. And let's see here, we have just the red, the 100, two types like the text and the hover. Text white is the same for both, so we can actually cover that. If it's not green, that means that we need to send the text red 800. And we need to send also the background red with the whole cover 800. Let's save this, and this should work. Perfect. So by default, is the color is green, right? But it's still being a pending item. If I go here and I change my list, where is my list? Here you go. I change my list to be color equal red. Actually, it could be whatever, but you can see that it just get changed, right? If I remove this, it's still a pending item, right? If I go to the list to dos, I can see that this is a pending element and it didn't change the value, just change the color, because we have a logic here that is sending as a prop, and we'll modify the class, and if that color is green, the text is going to be green and the background is going to be green, or it's going to be red. So that's why we're able to modify. So that's pretty neat, I believe. I believe that's actually working very cool. Something extra that we need to change is the title, right? So this title we have right here. Let's do another prop. We can have several props. It's called title, and it's going to be very much the same. Going to be string, and the default is going to be to-do list. I don't know, something like that. And instead of doing this, it's going to be title. We have the to-do list, perfect. That means that if we go to here, we can actually send title equal pending item. And now just that get rendered. That means that we should be able, let me put this one right here. This is going to be red, and this is going to be completed. We are going there. Oh, look at this. This one needs to change to the color. So let's get back here, this one. So that means we need to remove this class from here. And this H3 element, we need to add a dynamic class. And we're going to be doing the same. So we're going to open the double quote because we're inside the template, and let's recreate this functionality. So we say the color of the prop equals 1, 2, 3. And it looks like that because I have this definition, but for you it should look something like this together, just 3 equals there. So if this equals green, this is going to go in single quote because we're inside the double quotes. We need to render something, right? If not, we need to render something else. So if this is green, it's going to be text green. If not, I believe the other color that we use here for the H3 is red 800, so we're fine with that. There you go. Go to the application. We need to change this. So by default, it's going to be green, or we can actually just do for consistency, color equal green. I need to close it, that's important. And my second list to dos is going to be color red, and complete item is going to be the title. Okay, it's doing something, but we still have hard coded that just the pending items are going to be rendered. So we can see that we can actually code to use the same logic twice, and we just do different changes here and there. Okay, so let's go to the list of to-dos. This is actually the pending, change status, what it does. Let's see what it does, change status. Oh, pretty neat. Change status already check it's pending, move it to done, or if it's done, move it to pending. So we can actually have something really cool here. What we need to have is, let me just get back to my list to dos. I will send to-dos element. This one's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be type. It's going to be an object, an array, I believe. And the default is going to be empty. Right? That means, and instead of using the pending to-dos, I will use the to-do by itself. To-dos here, to-dos here, doing to-dos, and that's it. And we don't need to import the pending to-dos, we just need to import the change status, because we are not hard coding that list anymore. If we do one, nothing happened, because my list of to-dos is not defined, or is not been sent yet. By default, it's an empty array. Saying that, we go to our main, or we go, I lose it. Let me close everything here. Oops, close too much. Let me open my code again. And I didn't digit the different steps, but that's okay. I will close this. And I will go to my main application view. And I will change the way that I'm actually calling this. So if we get back here, we have the pending and the completed. I didn't delete those for some reason. I will change the change status. I don't need that anymore. Right? Let's actually delete the second section. I don't need that anymore either. More to-dos is going to be equal pending to-dos, and here my to-dos that are going to be sending there are going to be my completed to-dos. Yeah, completed to-dos. Let's save it. So that means we put one here. We're not doing it. Let's see what's happening. Oh, npm run dev. The server needs to be running in order to have it there. There we go. Refresh. It will take a minute or two. Yeah, sorry for that. I have there you go. Now have a lot of add items in there. Why? Let's go to my main. That's actually in the application. An array of 0. So why it gets rendered like a lot of them? 14 and 12. That's really interesting. So to-dos is a pending to-dos. An array. Why is not doing it? I need to send it like this. Probably. Yeah. So because an array is a little more dynamic. Okay. Yes. Sorry for that. So because this is actually a computed element, that computed element will change over time. Because it changes over time, but we're actually sending, it should be a dynamic. The color green and the title are static elements that are not reactive. That way we can actually send it like that. But because the pending item in the computer will change over time, those need to be sent as a dynamic element, so we specify that. So if I have one here, go to my pending items, I click it, go to my completed items. Let's do 2. There you go. Everything is running. And our application view went from, I don't know how, let me check, I have right here, from 83 lines to 16. Why? Because we separate the logic in different places. And the biggest piece that I was concerned me a lot of those list to-dos were separated in their list to do element, and we're able to do it like that. Now, probably we can do the same with the list item, but we just use it once, and I don't see the point now to render it differently. So we can actually have the same section, just render it, and with different props, including the list that we are sending. So it's going to be sent right there. Now, because the change status checks automatically in their logic, change from pending to done, and from done to pending. That's why we don't need to have another prop for that, so we just use it. And now the logic is separated across the board. Now every element is just importing the logic that it needs. So the list, the only element that needs for my to-dos is actually just the change status, and I will render a generic to-dos list that is an array right here, just a generic that I will be creating or sending through here. So here I was able to import, and let me just get ready. There you go. Import my list of to-dos, right? My pending and my completed, and I'm sending the same list twice, just changing the props that I need to have in order to render the elements that I need. That's a way how Vue application works, and that's the magic of this element. It allowed us to have a better separation and a better way to actually handle the information. So just for ending this, I will pretty much I stage all the changes. I would type my commit message, let's say scaffold, all the things, and I hope that I'm typing scaffold the way they're supposed to. And I already committed. Now I will push it. We'll push and pull commits. I will say yes, okay. Do it, I don't care. That means if I go, I'm sorry for that, I'm just copying the URL. So if I go here, I can let me close this, I don't need it anymore. All the things are there. So that means if I click this, we can see everything that we did with this commit. Let me just get away from here. We eliminate a bunch of lines from application view. We create a bunch of new elements with that separation of the different concerns. We need, right? So one last thing will be deploy. So let me go to my format at YC. Everything is still there, right? It should be, but it's not deployed. So it will not change the look and feel at the end. I get that, but I want to show you how to deploy changes on your code. So what I want to do here, I will go to my server. There you go. Let me get me away from here. So I have my site. I have my Vite to do. So I will do a git pull. That remote like get all the changes that you can see. The application view, all the changes get there. This means addition, this means deletions. And then we created like a bunch of stuff. We do npm install just in case, and we know that we are finding there, right? Oh, we have npm available. We get npm installed globally at npm. Actually, I believe we can do this. npm-v. Yes, npm now. At the time that I'm recording this video, the add 7 is not needed anymore because npm 7 is already deployed by default. So now that we have that, we can actually do npm run build. We're going to build the application itself. to take a minute in order to create everything from this folder. Perfect. So I will go to my PC. Bar. Actually, it's going to be bar XML www. Yes, XML. Let me just remove everything just for fun. It will actually I'm there because I delete everything. Nothing gets rendered. Now that I'm in here, I will copy recursively everything that is on my home folder site by Todo distribution folder and I will set everything in that directory to here. Okay. And I have my application now. And it's still working the way that it's supposed to. Oh. So I know that this didn't change, right? But I wanted just to show you how to deploy a change to your code application. So that's the way that Vue.js gives the magic to a Scaffold application, and we can have different little pieces in order to understand better your code. That's also we learn a little bit how to use the Vue.js dev tool, and we just be a little rough overview of that. But that helps us to identify the different elements, functions, the reactive elements, and also the components and the hierarchy of those components, and we can actually select those. So it's a way to understand how our application is get rendered. So by the end of this video, what I will need to give me just the URL of your source code already changed. Remember, you need to have your changes for colors and titles, things like that. So hope that you like it. Any question, any doubt, don't hesitate to reach me. Happy coding everybody.